What's up, guys? It's Matt here, and today we're going to be talking about the ugly truth about the Fiverr rating system, what it means for you as a seller, and what to do about it. And so, one of my school members recently had a question where were basically telling the story that did a really great job for their client, and the client still chose to give them not a 5-star review, but a review below that, I think like 4.8 or something like that, 4.7. And so basically the story is not unique in any way. I've experienced it myself and it hasn't always been this way. And to understand basically what has changed on Fiverr and why these kinds of reviews can be common, we need to understand basically how the review process looks like from the client's point of view. And so here in front of us, I'm on a Fiverr help page about reviews and ratings for clients. So basically for the people on Fiverr placing an order with you, the seller, and what it looks like. And the article, talks a lot about what the process looks like, what buyers can and cannot do. But what's most relevant for us is this thing here. So in this, here's the headline: rating topics. Clients will rate the following aspects of the completed order. Click to see how it will look. So let's take a look, right? So basically, once you've delivered an order to your client and the client accepts it as being completed, this is what Fiverr's rating process is going to look like from the client's point of view. And so Fiverr asks the client to rate 3 factors, right? So first of all, we have, based on your expectations, how would you rate the quality of this delivery? Secondly, how was it working with the freelancer? And finally, how would you rate the value of this delivery? And so let's go through these one by one. Based on your expectations, how would you rate the quality of this delivery? So the buyer had a certain expectations, right? And then they rate basically if they feel like you delivered on the expectation or you exceeded the expectation. Secondly, how was it working with freelancer? This is mostly, I would say, about communication, right? Were you polite? Were you professional? Were you proactive in communicating with the client? All these factors go into a rating in here. And finally, how will you rate the value of this delivery? So basically, it's kind of tied to the expectation in that the client's ordering something from you and they pay you something for it, right? And then whatever you deliver, they might have the feeling, I got exactly what I wanted, or I got even more what I want for what I paid for, or less, right? And this is gonna influence the rating. And here is basically where the issues come in. So I've been on Fiverr for about 6 years, and basically the rating system didn't used to be like that. It used to be that you only gave like one flat star rating, which wasn't like separated into these 3 factors. That's the first thing that changed, but that by itself is not a problem actually, right? I think it's fair for buyers to rate different parts of the delivery. That's fine. But what's the problem for sellers, and what I think Fiverr should actually change is how they have named these star ratings. Because if we take a look, let's take a look here because it's bigger. So it goes from 1 to 5 stars, right? 5 being the best. And it starts with poor and ends with exceptional. And I think the problem here is with this term exceptional. Because this happened to me as well. There are some service types where it's pretty much impossible to deliver exceptional service because your delivery is going to be very binary, right? It's either going to be good or it's not going to be good. So for myself, I'm doing English-German translations. When it comes to the quality of my delivery, I can either deliver a very good translation or the translation is not very good at all. But it's very hard for me to do exceptional translations because what does this look like, right? The client doesn't really know what does an exceptional translation look like, especially if they don't speak the target language. And I think this can be true for a lot of different types of services. And so I've actually talked to clients about this when I wouldn't receive a 5-star rating, and some of them would tell me, well, everything was fine, really, but it wasn't exceptional. And in a way, I can blame them because well, the meaning of this word is the work was a lot more than what I expected, and a lot more than what I asked for. But I would argue that for some service types, this simply is not possible. For some service types, the delivery is so homogenic in a way that it's not possible to deliver exceptional work, right? I think you can always communicate exceptionally, and obviously, when it comes to the value can be exceptional, right? If your price is especially low, or if you throw in bonuses, you can change this. But really, the first part with the expectations, this is where it's really difficult, or an issue with the Fiverr rating system, that basically how they have worded this 5-star thing with exceptional makes it so that buyers are less likely now to give 5-star ratings as opposed to the past. And so this is the problem at hand. It's not unique. It affects all types of sellers. And let's talk about what you can do about this. So speaking from personal experience, when it comes to communication, I always get 5 stars because I'm very proactive and I communicate professionally, and I try to solve issues with clients proactively. So for this communication part, I think every seller on Fiverr has the ability to become an exceptional communicator with enough experience, with the right tools. So right here, you can basically always get 5 stars. And then when it comes to value of the delivery, what you can do is think of a bonus you can throw in onto every order that you complete, right? So I don't know if this really depends on the niche, but for example, you can do create like a booklet, like a PDF that's in some way valuable to the client, that you just send out with every order, and it's a little bonus the client gets. Or I mean, you can really get creative here. If you don't have ideas, just go to ChatGPT and describe to the service that you have and bonuses that you could throw in. So, because then the value can become exceptional, right? If you deliver very good work for the price the client paid, and you throw in a bonus on top of that, then you can be very likely to earn the exceptional star rating. And then when it comes to expectations, expectation management can be very helpful here. So basically, before the client orders, make really sure that you are clear about what the buyer wants exactly, and also be honest about what you will deliver, right? Like a good example for me is always that basically I'm very clear about how long it's going to take to deliver the delivery, and I tend to ask for more delivery time instead of being crunched on time and not being able to deliver a good service. So these are the actions you can do. And another thing that I would do, I'm just taking one of my gigs as an example here, right, which doesn't have a lot of reviews, but I also don't have a 5-star review here. One thing I started doing recently is basically whenever I get a rating from a client, I respond to it. Doesn't matter if it's 5 stars or 4 stars or whatever. I always respond to it because if you respond to a rating, this gives you the opportunity to basically show other buyers how you respond to ratings, and it gives you the opportunity to show how you communicate, and if you look professional, if you address maybe issues that were mentioned in the review in a professional manner. So I think the seller's response is an opportunity for us sellers to, how can I say, like change the narrative of a rating a little bit. Because let's say this were a 4-star rating, I can still thank the buyer for the order, and something like you can tell them something like looking forward to make an even better job next time, right, to earn that 5 stars, something like that. So basically you can change the narrative by always responding to reviews. So these are really the proactive steps that I would take. Is you can absolutely control your communication with clients, you can manage the expectations, and you can think about throwing in a bonus on your deliveries, and you should always respond to every rating you get. Now, all that being said, as a conclusion, something which I observed as a top and pro-rated seller, because this still happens to me, and I think I've also seen it all across the platform. At the end of the day, if Fiverr does not change this rating system and they leave it as is, what this really means is that the average rating on Fiverr is going to trend downwards, right? Because even very good sellers are gonna receive more, let's say, 4-star ratings than they used to. And so it's gonna become a lot more common on Fiverr to not have a 5-star rating on a gig and instead have a 4.9 rating, 4.8 rating, 4.7 rating. And I mean, I don't have statistics on this, but my general feel from working on Fiverr in the past years, ever since this rating got changed, I feel like buyers notice in a way. I don't think their buyers are not as deterred from ordering your gig when it doesn't have 5 stars as they used to. Really, I think as long as you maintain a rating of 4.7 or higher, you should be fine. You should still get messages, should still get orders. So at the end of the day, unless Fiverr changes this rating system, you just have to accept that this is going to be part of the journey. It sucks a bit, but this is outside of our control. And so this is what I want to close with. Work on the things that you can control for your delivery to get that 5-star rating. And apart from that, you just gonna have to accept that every once in a while you're basically gonna get a 4-star rating for no reason, right? Because really anything below 3-star rating probably has a good reason why your buyer rated you so low. But a 4 or 5-star rating, I would mostly ascribe this to how Fiverr's rating system has been developed. So that's all of this I have for today. Hope this was valuable, and I'll see you guys next week.